Welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing, and yes, today we are doing a comparison of two pear ciders. That's right, pear, compare, yeah. Don't forget to like, subscribe, keep sharing, definitely appreciate it. We are going to compare two similar pear ciders, one of them from Mangrove Jacks, we all know who Mangrove Jacks is, or at least the majority of us do, and one from ABC Cork Company. It's packaged actually in the UK for a company in Canada. But they both make 23 liters or 6 US gallons. They both recommend you add 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds of corn sugar. We are going to bring them down to 5 gallons each. And to keep everything simple so that we're only really comparing the extracts and nothing else, we are going to use the same yeast in both of them. We're using White Labs 002 English ale yeast. I love this yeast for any kind of ciders. It leaves a lot of the flavor behind while still making the cider very, very dry. Some yeasts make ciders super dry where you can barely taste them, and other ones you taste it but it's so sweet or semi-sweet. This is very dry and very, very good. So we're gonna use White Lab 002 in both of them. I know when I cut them open, I am going to be, how do you say, committed, because the instructions are inside of each one. They are these, what they call a double packet pouch, which means that there is 2 pouches in here. When I cut one side's dry, it has their yeast, and their instructions, and any other additions. On the other side, it is nothing but liquid extract. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna heat up, based on the instructions, the correct amount of water for each of these. We're gonna do one at a time, get them in the same type of fermenters. I have another fermenter up there. I'll rinse that with some Star Sand real quick, even though it's been cleaned. Yeah, I rinse it just before I pitch anything as far as yeast or anything fermentable, just to be safe. You never know what might have hidden in there, and it's like, hey, wait, I hitch a ride. But yeah, so let's get started. My hands are rather clean, but just to be safe, I'm going down in here to get the dry goods. No, I forgot, they like to add back sweetener. I'm not that type of person. So we have Mangrove Jack series instructions. We have Mangrove Jack's yeast cider. Not gonna use it. We have sweetener. It's nasty. And then we have, I love this, pear cider flavoring. Probably fake too. Not gonna use it. That's actually pear cider. So, yeah. There's one, and it smells amazing. I'll have to read and figure out how to add 1 gallon less of water, because I don't know if I have my container for measuring. Let's go ahead and open the next one. Can't let it fall. No. Looks like all the paperwork was submerged in liquid, but it's not. Okay, we're looking very similar here. We got sweetener. How much sweetener is over here? Okay, over here we got 5.5 grams. Over here we got 6.3. Probably fake stuff. Don't want either one. We have pear cider flavoring. Don't want it. Probably chopping my head off in the camera. And then I have cider yeast and nutrient, 9 grams. Over here we have 9.6 of just cider yeast. Wonder what's the difference. Okay, whatever, we're not using it. And the instructions are very similar looking, although one is pretty in color, one is just black and white. I do love how they talk about cutting the pouches open carefully over on here. Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten this had I not cut the pouch open, just saying. So let us get some water boiling so we can get the corn sugar dissolved. Sorry for the background noise. We've got the burners going, we've got everything going. I'm gonna drop the 2.2 kilograms or 1 pound of corn sugar in here. It's sitting at 170 Fahrenheit, so we should be just fine. That's not quite boiling, but hey, it'll melt. It'll dissolve. As I inhale, I feel like I'm breathing corn sugar. Okay, and it's very white, but what happens is as you stir it and it dissolves, it becomes clear. Okay, what's kind of funny is it talks about in the instructions, and I've had the instructions before, but I don't remember these. It talks about cleaning things, it talks about mixing the powdered sugar or corn sugar. It talks about all these things, but it doesn't talk about actually moving the cider in with the water. It's kind of funny. I find it entertaining. So, corn sugar is almost dissolved, and I'm gonna start adding the actual yummy. And one big quick thing is between the Mangrove Jacks and the ABC cork, they smell a little different. I mean, this has a nice, kind of a dry, sweet smell. I know that sounds weird. And over here, it's more dry than, it's very different, very different. So I'll go ahead and pour this in there. My problem is when you pour this in here, you're gonna have some residual in there and you're gonna wanna get it all out. And yes, it pours out like a black, dark color, but that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna get this in the fermenter. We'll rinse this out and we will stir it all up and make sure we don't miss anything. The fermenter does have a 5-gallon mark, so we'll be okay. You can rinse this with cold water. It's not a big deal. And when you do this, you want a funnel or something so that you can pour it in, and I'll show you why. As it's pouring in, you hear all that splashing? Yeah, it's called aeration. You want that. You want a lot of that. So I'm gonna grab another gallon of water. Yeah, it's more distilled RO water I got going, but I'd recommend spring water. Let's go in here. We're gonna pour the cold water in the bag. And then we can pour it out like this, and it's gonna help get all that yummy out of there and anything that you left in the can or pan, pot. I called it can, but that's okay. I know there's a, there it is, to the 5-gallon mark that I can barely see, but I can feel it. So we're getting there. Once we hit the 5-gallon mark, we'll pitch the yeast. We'll rock on. Okay, here's another 170 degrees Fahrenheit water. We're sitting at 5 gallons over here. It's right at the edge. I wanna make sure I put them both beside each other so they're exact, you know what I mean? So here we go. Here's the water. Let's dump the corn sugar in. Always sticks around the edge, so I wanna make sure to get it all. And oh where did I put the spoon? There it is. I'm gonna stir this up. Actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna worry about it being clear because it's gonna get clear here very shortly. And while I'm stirring it, I might as well go ahead and add. Just the smell is a little different. There's some similarities, of course, it's both pear, but they're just a little different. They're both very dark when they first pour out. I'm gonna stir that up for a second. I'm gonna put some cold water in there, get all the yummy, sweet goodness, and get that in here. And then we'll fill the next fermenter. And after we fill the next fermenter, we'll compare them, pitch the yeast, and rock on and let them ferment for a while, carbonate, and then we'll see which one wins, or maybe which one I prefer. I'll try to get a second person, maybe 3 if I'm lucky, for taste testing. Okay, I'll put the OG and FGs when we do the taste test, but for now, I've got some yeast right here, and I've got some more yeast right here. This is fresh. I don't think I've fully cut it. I'll do my best with pitching half and half, but we're gonna go ahead, throw these in the fermenter, see how they come out, and do a taste test. That's the big thing, the taste test. Oh. And of course, I guess I tweaked that one on. Make sure it's not gonna touch anything. Make sure it's not gonna touch anything. Okay, we'll go about half the yeast there. And half the yeast here. Why am I separating the packet? Just in case the little reconstituted stuff that I've been going with the starter has any issues, although I seriously doubt it. Been doing a pretty good job with this stuff. Okay, here we go. Pour some of that in there. And dump it out. Okay, put about half of there in there, about half in there. We're all good. Let's rock and roll. Let's see how the taste test comes out. And don't forget, like, subscribe, keep sharing. Definitely appreciate it. This is the Pear Cider ABC cork, yes, versus Mangrove Jacks.